Jay-Z or whoever it might be.
Welcome to Fabuluex Living with Angela Jones. I'm your host, Angela Jones. I've got fun stuff in store today. Yeah, you're probably wondering what I have going on here, but it's wedding season, everyone. Whether you are getting married or you're in a wedding, or you're just going to be a guest at a wedding. We're going to talk all things weddings because it is wedding season. Love is in the air. So we're going to talk about weddings today. We're going to talk a little bit about some trends and things. If you're planning a wedding, if you're hosting a bridal shower, I have some really unique themes that you can kind of use if you're hosting a bridal shower for a friend or a cousin, or someone whose wedding that you're in, or if you're the mom of the bride or the groom of the bride and you want to host something for the mom of the groom or mom of the bride or an aunt or whomever. We're going to talk all things wedding. So we have a little bit of something for everyone today. So the PowerPoints are back. We have a PowerPoint presentation today, people. Yes, technology is on my side. Hallelujah. So Jay's laughing because last week he was sweating. I was sweating trying to get everything together for last week. So we're back with our trusty and handy PowerPoints. So as you can see, today's show, as I just said, is Love is in the Air. It's wedding season. So we're going to jump right into it because I have a lot of material to cover and I want to make sure that I get to everything. So we know that we just saw the lovely Meghan Markle and Prince Harry get married in London just in May. And it was a beautiful ceremony. It was gorgeous. I can only imagine what it cost to have that wedding. Weddings are a big deal. I know I got married, 25 years ago? Something like that. Clearly, it didn't last. But anyway, I'm just saying. Got married a long time ago. And weddings are costly. You want to, you get engaged and then you want to jump right into the planning. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of money. But today I'm going to kind of share some things where you can save some money on the big day. I'm going to also show you some trends, like I said, and things like that. But like I said, weddings are a big to-do. When a woman gets, married, it's expensive. Weddings are expensive. The average wedding in the U.S. is a whopping $33,391. Average. But then when you have shows like some of those wedding planning shows that you see like on TLC, I don't think some of them come on anymore, but I know I used to watch all that stuff too. People spend gobs of money on their weddings. 33 is the average, people. That's average. But most people in this area, weddings are going to cost you if you wanted to have a seated dinner. A seated dinner is going to cost you starting $140, and that's low. $140 per person. That's just on the reception. Most of your budget, 50% of your budget, whatever you've budgeted, 50% of that you're going to end up spending on your reception. It's a lot of money to plan a nice event, especially when you're in towns, like I said, like here in D.C., that's the average. When you're in New York, the average on a wedding in New York is $75,000. Average. That's a lot of money. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to show you some clever ways to cut costs in weddings. And let me tell you a little bit of my background with weddings too really quickly. I have done some event planning over the years in my role as an executive assistant, and then I've also kind of done some planning in my role as a manager of a fine dining restaurant. I would often have small intimate weddings come in, and I would end up being the coordinator for the wedding. For the reception, and then I've also done some, bridal showers and things like that at the restaurant. And then on my own, I've dabbled in event planning, and I'm currently planning a wedding now for a young lady that I have known for a really long time, and she is getting married in September. So I thought, hey, it's wedding season. This will be a great show and to share some things, because I know that whether you're a guest or you're planning a wedding or what have you, there's something that everybody can glean about weddings. So got a little bit of something for everybody. So like I said, first up, I'm gonna share with you some clever ways to cut cost. The first way is to swap cities. This is a photo of Wilmington, North Carolina, which is where my clients are getting married over Labor Day weekend. And it's just nice sometimes to, one, do your wedding away from where you live, and to kind of, You don't even have to do a true, like, when people think destination weddings, they always think of someplace exotic, like Aruba or Bermuda or something like that. But sometimes your destination wedding can be right here in the States, and you can end up saving money. Again, my clients had major sticker shock when they saw how much things were, the cost to have weddings here in DC. So they're getting married in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it's cutting their costs down by um, like 70%. Seriously, they're saving that much money on their wedding by not having it in DC. And it works out because both of them went to school in North Carolina, so it's still kind of like a nod to where they both went to school together as well. And the groom is from North Carolina, so it ends up working out and being a great place. And it's Labor Day weekend, and then they can kind of make it a long weekend for their guests. So, hey, if it's a little too pricey for you to have the wedding where you live, if you live in a big metropolitan area like we do here in DC, think about having it somewhere else, and then making it a long wedding weekend for your guests. So that's one way. The next way that you can save big is to limit your bar. That's another way that you can limit your funds, because we know, uncles, Uncle Ray and cousin, Mary, they know that you have an open bar. They're going to get a little carried away sometimes at weddings. So if you're not, opposed to it, think about just doing wine and beer and having a signature cocktail. If you don't want to do the whole full bar thing, that's a way to still provide some alcohol for people, but not go full on and feel like you have to have, a full bar with top shelf liquor and all that. You can just do a wine and beer bar with a signature cocktail. Or you don't have to have the full bar open for the entire reception. People have it open for 4 and 5 hours, and then that's when you're liable to get the people that are sloshed and falling all over the place and acting a fool. So we don't want that. No, we don't want that. So think about limiting your bar, because you will save thousands of dollars by limiting your bar. Next up is, if you're like me, music is a big deal to me. Like I told you last month when we talked about Black Music Month. Music is another expensive area in your wedding. So think about hiring students from a nearby university. That's one of the things that I suggested to my clients. They are in a big, there are several universities right there near where they are. And I said, hey, musicians are expensive. They're not, the groom is in the music, the bride not so much as he is. So I was just kind of like, hey, if that's not a big chunk of your wedding budget and you want to spend that money elsewhere, think about just hiring students. So I ended up finding some violinists that can come and perform at the wedding. So, that's something that we're definitely going to toy around with too. So I think that is something that you should definitely consider. And think about it. I'm talking about, not like elementary school, but when you go to the concerts. No. I'm talking about adults, people. I'm talking about college age students, that are majoring in music at a local university, which would be great. Like for us, we're a stone's throw away from Howard University. It would be great to have an ensemble from the Howard Gospel Choir, or to hire the Howard, like the jazz ensemble to come and perform. That way you can save money, because having professional artists is expensive, when you're hiring a seasoned artist. So think about hiring a student. Everybody needs their first break. So that's something that you should definitely consider to save some loot. The next way you can save is, we know, again, like I said, the reception and food are your big ticket items. So one of the next ways that you can save money, is by avoid having pricey ingredients in your main course. Don't think you're gonna. I wouldn't do a stuffed lobster with crab or anything like that. Save those things for your hors d'oeuvres and let those be passed, so that you can kind of control how much people are getting. That's not something, unless you have an unlimited budget, unless you've got it like that, I would say, if you're really trying to save money, then to just try to have those things like your lobster, your shrimp, and crab, and those kinds of things. Have those ingredients in in your appetizers or hors d'oeuvres instead of in your main course. And that way you're going to save some money too. And I failed to mention too, the main way you can save money in your wedding budget is to not get married on Saturday. People, Saturday, everybody is getting married on Saturday. I mean, like, everybody. That's what people do. They get married on Saturday so they know people off from work and things like that. But you know what's becoming popular? Getting married on a Friday night. A lot of people are doing it on a Friday night and then getting married on a Sunday. Now, Sunday is less expensive typically than a Friday because they know these venues have gotten hip. They're like, oh, people are starting to they want to get married on Friday to avoid the big ticket cost on Saturday. So some of them are getting a little slick and they're starting to charge the same rates that you would on a Friday. But on Sunday's kind of that sleepy day of the week, and it's typically when restaurants and venues aren't really making a lot of money. So they're more inclined to give you a little more of a discount. So think about Sunday, a la a nice Sunday brunch wedding. Like that would work for me if I ever were to stroll down the aisle again because I'm a morning person. So I can get right up while I'm wide awake and get married. So think about that. You can do a brunch. You can do like a nice luncheon. You can still even do something on a Sunday night. But people have to get up and go to work the next day. So I would do something a little more low key, like I said, like a brunch or something if I were doing something on a Sunday, or maybe no later than having things wrap up by like 7 in the evening, 8, so that people can get up and go to work and do their thing. But that is definitely one of the main ways you can save money. And the last way, I don't have a photo up for this one because I had so many slides and the file was too large. But another way that you can save money is by having in-season flowers. So if you are a peony lover, peonies are only available for a small little window, April to June. That's it, people. You can sometimes see them later in early July, but it's very unlikely. You're typically going to see them in that small window. So if you want peonies, your florist will get peonies for you in October, but they're going to cost you. So just try to use flowers that are in season. And then along with that, repurpose those flowers. If you don't have like really obnoxious flowers at your ceremony, take those flowers with you to the reception and repurpose them and use them again. Same thing with your bridesmaids' bouquets. Use those in other areas. Put them around the cake table or around the escort card table. Make sure they're getting used again because they're just going to end up tossing them aside and they're not going to need them anymore after the ceremony, but you can still use them to decorate your wedding reception venue. So those are my 6 ways to save big on the big day. So next up is wedding etiquette for the guests. So this is for most of us. Because on average, we're going to hopefully be a guest more than we're going to get married. You know what I mean. So here's some do's and some don'ts so that you can be an impeccable guest at the wedding. So we're going to run through this list for you. First up, please, people, please, for the love of sweet baby Jesus in the manger, RSVP. And that may sound simple, but please RSVP as soon as you know whether you're going or not going. Again, you saw that number at the top of the, show. People spend a lot of money and time on weddings. And I think it's horrible when I've had clients say, I haven't heard back from, like 25 people, 30 people, and then they have to start calling people. Look here. I invited you to my wedding. I'm spending $100 a head on you. I'm going to need you to tell me if you're coming or not. It's that simple. Because when you get the invitation, you know whether you're going to make it or not. Just send. They've given you a self-addressed stamped envelope, people. Send it back. Send it back to the people so they can move on. Because if you're not going to come, then they can either put somebody else in that slot, that they didn't have on their original guest list, or that'll decrease the money that they're going to spend on the wedding. That'll help them with their head count. So if you're not going to make it, let them know. If you're going to make it, let them know as soon as you know you're going to make it or not. RSVP, people. Okay. I'm done with that. Sorry, I get a little heated about that because I hate when people don't RSVP. Next, in the same RSVP realm, don't assume you can bring a guest. Don't do that. If that inner envelope, we know when we get a wedding invitation, there's the outer envelope that's addressed to you. And, let's say it's Mr. and Mrs. John Jones. And then on the inside of that, on that inner envelope, is going to say Mr. and Mrs. John Jones on the inside. Let's say that you're single like me. If I get an invitation that just says Angela Jones, I'm not showing up with anybody. If it doesn't say Angela Jones and guest, or let's say if I were engaged or something like that and it doesn't have my fiance's name on there, he ain't coming. That's just the bottom line. Don't assume you can bring somebody. And do not call the bride or the groom saying, can I bring, Pookie? No, you cannot. If it doesn't say and guest, you can't bring them. That's it. You can't bring them. Moving on down the list because that little stuff gets me mad. Do select a gift from the registry. Again, the bride and the groom have taken a lot of time. I don't know if you all have ever, those of you who have been married understand it. It takes hours at one store to register. Hours to register at one store. And imagine if you're at a place like Bed Bath & Beyond. You are in there for like 3 hours registering. And if you're registered at another store, say Crate & Barrel, that's another 3 hours. We have, the couple has taken the time to say, oh, I want these champagne flutes. I want this cake pedestal. And then you're going to go somewhere else, and pick out what you want them to have. No. Get something from their register. Don't do that. Please get something from the register. That's why they created it, so they can ensure that they got the things that they truly wanted. Because if you get them something they didn't want, they're going to take it back. Okay? So, don't take a large gift to the wedding. I mean, it's great if you got them that great, what's something big that you, like a mixer or something like that. They do not want to think about how they're going to get that mixer, that big box home. Have it shipped to them at their home before the wedding. It's fine, and don't worry about, I don't want to look like I came in empty-handed. You know that you shipped them something. They know that you shipped them something. But don't, bring it to the wedding because then the couple has to arrange for someone else to get it home. It's just a big, humongous task, and nobody wants to have to think about that at the end of the night. So ship their gift to them. That's the beauty of now. I mean, you can do all that stuff now right through the store. You don't even have to take it home and wrap it, and they'll do all of that for you. So have the gift shipped. Okay, this kind of goes back up with that other RSVP stuff, and don't assume you can bring a guest. Don't be late. And I know people say, weddings never start on time. Mine do. It doesn't matter. You need to be there, because if you come in too late, I'm just going to say, if you happen to be at a wedding that I'm planning, I'm going to make you sit in the back. Because it's just rude. It's a very sacred, ceremony. And we don't need to see people rummaging around trying to step over people and, excuse me, sorry, we're late. No. You're going to sit in the back and you're going to wait. You just are. I've had people that have come in like right before the bride is about to make her entrance. You got to move. You got to go. Get over here. Move out of the way. What? No, over here. You belong over here. Over here. So, no. Don't be late so that you can avoid, all of that embarrassment and the whispering and the stepping over people. Don't be late. Be on time. Actually, it's nice if you can be there 20 minutes early. You're there. You're in place. You've got your seat. You can relax. They're playing the lovely prelude music. You have your program. You can sit there and chat with your, guest, if the envelope said you can bring a guest, and you just wait for the festivities to begin. Okay, do pay attention to the dress code. This is another pet peeve of mine. The whole list is a lot of they're all full of, I may as well just say that they're just all pet peeves of mine. So, sorry. Pay attention to the dress code. I just think that's really important. If again, if they say that it's black tie and you don't own a tuxedo, go rent a tuxedo. They apparently want there to be a certain look and feel to their wedding. That's why they've said that the dress code is black tie. Now, if they said it's black tie optional, then you can relax a little bit, and you may be able to, you can get away with a dark conservative suit and a dark tie, or conservative lighter tie if it's appropriate. But we're going to get into the dress code next. Just stay tuned for that. Um, don't wear white. Duh. That's all I'm going to say. Unless it's a wedding where they said it's a white wedding, which I don't understand. You don't stand out bride. But hey, I know a lot of people do that, especially if they do something in a tropical location and people have on like the white linen. But to me, you don't stand out. And I thought that was kind of the whole point. But anyway, don't wear white. I know some people say, oh, well, that's, they've kind of like, no, don't wear white or anything in that family. White, ecru, beige, off-white, ivory, champagne. Don't wear it. Don't wear it. But do party. Definitely party. People that they spent this money. This is like a wedding is the couples. I don't care how long they've been together. It is their first, it's like their coming out party. Like hey, we are celebrating. This is the first event that they're hosting together as husband and wife. So they spent money on the DJ. So they've made their playlist. They want people to have a good time. So get out there and have a good time. Don't sit there and sit in the chairs and just sit there and just drink their liquor. Get out there and dance. Enjoy yourself. But don't party too much. Because then you got the whole wasted girl, wasted guy stumbling around. It can get a little crazy. So we want you to party, but don't party too much. You gotta have a balance. Do make sure you go around and you congratulate the families. They have just become, one. So make sure you find the parents, even if you don't know them, and introduce yourself to them and just say, hey, my name is, Angela Jones. I just wanted to, thank you, especially if they're hosting the wedding. Thank you for a wonderful event. I've known, Jane, since we went to college. I don't think I ever met you, but it's just so nice to meet you, blah, 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 and thank you. And congrats on, this union. That's a nice thing to do, and the parents would appreciate that. Last thing on my etiquette list is, and it may seem obvious, like the white wedding dress, but I'm a picky eater, and I think I've shared that with you all before, but don't criticize the food. I've been to when people are just kind of like, did you? And then going around the table, what did you all think of the steak? Did you get that? Don't do that. Again, they've taken a lot of time and spent a lot of money, whether it's rubbery chicken or bland, whatever it is. They spent a lot of money on it. They don't want to be. That's not cool. That's not cool. Zip it, as hard as it may be, and save your criticisms until after you leave their wedding. I just think that's the right thing to do. We're going to take a very quick break, and then next we're going to talk all things wedding guest attire. Be right back. Sorry, having a little fun in the studio. I was doing a little voguing and sorry. Anyway, okay. I want to make sure I get through everything. So now we're going to go right into attire, because that's the thing that always causes somewhat of a conundrum with people. They're like, oh, when I see white tie, black tie, oh, what do I wear? So this is going to, this little thing, we're going to the dress code is going to be decoded today. I'm going to help you with that. So if the invitation says white tie, I mean, think White House state dinner. So you're going to be just like John Legend is in a white tie, white shirt, vest. Some instances you even have on the gloves. Like this is like a big to do. The woman should be in a long floor length gown. There are no exceptions. That's it. You can't do a cocktail dress or anything. If it says white tie, they spent a whole lot more than $33,000. I'm just saying. So come in there, correct people. Thank you. Next slide, Jay. Enough said. That's what it's, you can't deviate from this. This is what it is. So this one, if it says black tie, it usually means it is an evening event, and you should have on a tuxedo and a black bow tie. That's what you should have on. If you have a vest on, it should be black or whatever. And like I said, it's for summer weddings, which is, hey, we're in the middle of summer. A white dinner jacket and black tuxedo trousers are okay. You can do that. But for the most part, the gentleman should be in a tuxedo and the woman should be in a floor-length gown, or she can wear a really, really dressy and nice cocktail dress. But it's got to be like a pretty formal, sparkly, tulle. It's got to be something there that gives it some extra va-va-voom, some extra zhuzh, so that it looks appropriate for a black tie wedding. Okay, next is if the invitation says formal or black tie optional. This is how guests can come for that. Do we have that one, Jay? So this is how the couple can look. Jay, can we move it down just a little, or take me off? You can take me off. You can take me off. Yeah. And I wanted everyone to see. So he has on a dark suit, and it's even more like a bluish color. And it's okay if it says formal or black tie optional. But then he has on a pretty, conservative tie, and then she has on it's like a dressy. Now this, I would even wear this. Is black tie optional, but this could be a good look even for black tie. If it said black tie, that the dress that she has on, and then she has some of the pop of color with the shoes, and I thought that this couple looks really handsome. So I thought that was a good option for the formal or the black tie optional. Again, if it says formal or black tie optional, a gentleman can still wear a tuxedo. But if you don't have one, this is when you can say, okay, I don't have to sweat it. But you should still look the part. Tuxedo, a dark suit, white shirt, conservative tie. Okay, the next one is what I think a lot of weddings end up being is more so semi-formal. And in this case, the gentleman has on like a charcoal gray suit, a blue, you can be a little more relaxed. You don't have to really follow the rules. And this is typically most weddings that you get invited to are going to be more of the semi-formal. I wouldn't say dressy casual. I don't think I've ever seen that on a wedding invitation. It's usually semi-formal. And in this one, you can definitely wear something that's not so rigid, and you don't have to look so uber conservative. Again, the ladies, you see she has on like a cocktail dress, but it's a little bit of a longer one. Or it can definitely be shorter, doesn't have to be that length. But this is a nice kind of happy medium with both of them have on here for that. And then, of course, in the summer, you can opt to do something even lighter. Even the gentleman, my brother and his girlfriend just went to a wedding. They looked so lovely. I should have pulled you guys' pictures up, but I didn't ask you guys that. Okay, anyway, they looked really nice because it was a summer wedding and it was at a country club, right, y'all? It was at a country club, and they both kind of coordinated with like pinks and like tans and lavender. Nikki said it was lavender. No, no, I'm just teasing. She didn't say it like that. I'm just being extra. So yeah, but they color coordinated together. My brother had on like a linen. What was it, Reg? Linen salmon colored sports coat, and had his little hat. It looked really sharp. Nikki looked really pretty, but they were very color coordinated together. So you can do something lighter like that. And I would say that this was you all's wedding like a semi-formal? What was it? Do you remember? Yeah. So that was that's usually what you're going to see for most weddings, is semi-formal. All right. Okay, now that we've kind of gotten what you need to wear, let's say you are hosting. Let's say you're in the wedding, or you're the mother of the bride, or, mother of the groom, and you want to host a bridal shower for the bride. I have come up with some really unique themes for a bridal shower. The first one is a spa theme. Now, I just think that that could be really nice. You know, the bride is stressing over all the wedding planning and everything, and who doesn't love a good mani-pedi facial kind of deal? You know, massage, all of that. You can you can do this two ways. You can either go to a spa together as a group if you don't have a lot of people, obviously. Let's say, I would say this is more for if you're having something on the smaller side, if the bride is having more of a smaller wedding party, you know, you can do something like this where you can kind of shut down like a spa and just kind of reserve it for like a couple of hours so that you all can all get your services done together. Or you can hire the professionals to come to your home, like an esthetician or and the manicurist and a massage therapist and everything to come to the home and do everything there. And I think that that idea is really neat. I did this, oh, maybe about 10 years ago for some girlfriends, and we had so much fun. No, it's probably longer than that. It's been a while. But it was so much fun. I had a massage therapist come in, and it was just really nice. We just had light fare, like I said. You can have the fruit-infused water, so it feels very spa-like. Play like some new age music, and really set the tone of some really nice, light jazz music in the background, so that you can kind of set the mood and give it that kind of spa feeling if you do decide to do it at home. And then I think it's nice to kind of give it a little personalized touch, and you can get like personalized terry cloth robes for everyone. And then a nice little favor is maybe you can get a nail color and a nail file and just kind of tie it with a ribbon that's in the bride's colors, her color palette for the wedding. And then that can be a nice little favor to give. So the spa theme, I think, is really cool and fun. And like I said, who doesn't love a good spa experience? So the next one is another unique theme, and this is for the foodie bride, or maybe the bride that doesn't know how to cook, and she needs a little guidance. Cooking class. So the cooking class bridal shower is really cool. You can, again, if you wanted to do it at your home, you can have a chef come in, and they can kind of teach everyone there, you know, a certain recipe or something like that, and maybe make it like a certain theme, or, you know, have the chef preparing the food for the day, and it's just a demonstration, which is a nice idea. Or you can go to a place like this photo that I got is from Sur La Table. They have them all around the country, and Sur La Table is a cooking utensil store. They have everything, like everything you could, like they're a version of like Williams Sonoma, and they also offer cooking classes. And they have rooms in the back that you can reserve to have private events. You can have everyone come there and, you know, don their aprons, learn to cook, or you can just do a demonstration class, like I said, where the chef is preparing everything, but you're learning how to prepare everything. So you can either have one that's hands-on, hands-off, and you're just watching, and then they're preparing the food for the event, and you go on with everything that you wanted to do for your shower. But it's a fun environment, and I just think that would be a really unique and different way, especially if the bride, either way, whether she's not, maybe she doesn't know how to cook but wants to learn now that she's getting married so that the man won't starve to death during their marriage. Just saying. Or maybe she's a foodie and really into food, so she'd really appreciate that. So I think that's a great shower theme to have. And another two good ideas that I had were to, you know, ask guests to submit their favorite recipes. You know, gather them like a month or so before the shower, and then create like a cookbook and have it bound and made for the bride, so that that can be a gift from everyone at the shower. So I think that's a really nice gift and a nice gesture for the bride to be. And then a food-related favor could be something like a sack of biscuit mix or something, you know, with a customized note attached. Or you can get, you know, like the cotton sacks that you can put biscuit mix in, and then get a stamp on it that says something really, you know, cutesy, you know, thanks for coming to, you know, Nikki's bridal shower, and the date on the bottom. So it's a nice keepsake, and you can always have that. And then the last bridal shower theme that I have is champagne and dessert. Who doesn't like a little champagne? Hey, a little champagne and some dessert. I mean, is, first of all, let me tell you about this one. It's super simple. Even if you're hosting and you don't know how to bake or anything like that, this is great because these days you can pick up so much stuff from the store. You can get miniature desserts, petit fours, little miniature tarts, macarons. There's so much you can go and pick up and just have it on really beautiful pedestal stands, have your nice crystal champagne flutes, and you've got a beautiful setup. I have a really cute photo, Jay. Can we pull that up? And you can take me off so we can pull it up. The dessert, the champagne and dessert, the last theme. Yeah. And to see how simple and pretty it is, it's just your champagne, or you can use Prosecco if you want something a little bit sweeter and, than champagne, not as dry. And those are just the macarons, a little cake, some flowers, and keep it very simple. And if you're a bridesmaid and your budget is limited and you guys don't have a lot of money to spend on the bridal shower, this is still something that's still going to be very elegant and tasteful. And it won't look like you didn't spend a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big believer in no matter what your budget is, you can still make things look nice, and people don't have to know that you cut corners or you had to save here or, there's still ways to get around and still pull off a very elegant affair that everyone will remember. So the favorite idea that I had for this is you could do champagne splits. And if you don't know what a split is like the smaller champagne bottle. And on Etsy, can you click on that link, Jay, where it says champagne split? They have this label that you can personalize it just for the affair, which is really, really nice. And then while Jay's looking for that, what I thought you can use to accompany that is you can just, get a really nice clear box of truffles, or even some truffles you just pick up from Godiva, put a ribbon on it that are in the bride's colors. And that'll be so pretty and a nice little takeaway for your guests to have. But that's a really great little favor, and it's really nice and elegant. And yeah, there it is. Isn't that adorable? I mean, the nice little split with a straw, and you can put it in the colors on it, and then the label on it, which is so cute. Thanks, Jay. Bachelorette bubbly, and then it's, I don't know, what is a woman's name on it? Oh, there, thanks. Amber's Last Fling. So it's really sweet. It's really cute, and you can put the little details on it about where you're doing the bachelorette party or the bridal shower and the date and everything. But that is really nice because I think favor should be reflective of the event that you just had. So you want to be able to take home like a little bit of the event, like the champagne and the dessert one, like for this one, you're taking home a split for yourself. So you can kind of, as you're enjoying it the next day or whenever you decide to partake in your favors, you're remembering the event. So I think that's a really cool favor. All right. So now we are going to go into wedding trends. What's popping now and what's out in 2019. So, the really cool, weddings, everything is always changing in the wedding industry. And it was hard to kind of figure out which topics I wanted to cover because there's so much you can really cover as far as weddings. We could do multiple shows on them because there's just so much to cover with weddings. And trends are always changing, and this is hot, this is not. So, the 2018 trends that I thought were really cool that I wanted to pull up are... one is using creative place cards. I love paper. I'm a paper junkie, but a lot of people are trying to be more environmentally conscious. So they don't want to have a lot of paper. So sometimes people are using, and I saw this, again, the file was really large, so I couldn't pull up a lot of pictures and things, but you can Google it and find it. But I saw this really beautiful leaf, and they simply, in gold metallic ink, wrote the guests' names on it, and that served as like a place card. I saw another that did use like a little piece of paper, and it had, one of them had like a pear, and it had something cute like, Nikki and Reggie are the perfect pair. I know that may sound corny, but it's cute and it worked, and it was the pear. It was cute. And then they had it on the paper, or you can put it right on the fruit and make it really pretty in calligraphy or whatever. And then I saw one that was done with lemons, with a little leaf on it. so it looked like it was a leaf was on the. It was really cute. So it was different little things you can do. So creative place cards trend 2018. Wedding invites beyond paper. Again, paper junkie. That's my name. But there are some really, as I was looking, there's some really unique things you can do that aren't paper. And this I'm loving. I was thinking about that depending on what I do for my 50th birthday. But this is acrylic. Isn't that neat? It's an acrylic invitation, which is so cool. And then you put it in like a nice, you know, envelope, and I just thought that was really, really unique, the acrylic. So that's another big trend too, is the acrylic invitations. That's something that I saw. And another trend for 2018, the after party is not an afterthought. Sometimes people are just like, hey, afterwards, let's just go somewhere else and continue the party at the bar down the street. But people are now putting a lot of thought into the after party. They're like planning, like the wedding you all went to, the people planned to go to the club, right? They planned that, they had that all planned out, that they were going to bring guests back to this club after their wedding, which I think is neat because they wanted to keep the party going. They knew they had the wedding venue until X amount of time, but they knew, hey, we're going to want to keep this thing going. So they continued it on at a club downtown. So I just thought that was kind of neat. So people are starting to do that, put a lot of thought into the after party. And another thing that people are doing that I'm not really a balloon person, but they're doing these lavish balloon installations. And again, I should have had a link put on there so you could see them. But I don't mean like when I got married, we just had like an arch that went over. No. We're talking about people are making them look three-dimensional. Some of them almost look kind of ethereal. Like it's really, really pretty. So if you get a chance, like Google wedding balloon installations, and you can see like what some people are doing. And some people have them looking, they're all different sizes, like behind them on a backdrop when guests come in to take pictures for the wedding, or they have them kind of starting up here and they kind of go down, and you can actually have it looking like you're almost kind of like floating within the balloons. They're really pretty. I mean, it kind of made me a believer, even though I'm not a balloon person, but that's a trend for 2018. So here are the trends for 2019. So this is what what's going to be out in 2019. So out, rose gold and blush, pastels, all that's going to be out, and what's going to be in are bolder colors. So we're going to see more jewel tone colors like deep amethyst and Bordeaux and a midnight blue. Like really rich colors are going to be on trend for 2019. Out, rustic spaces. Everybody's been doing like the burlap and the mason glasses and all of that stuff. I'm not a fan. And instead of people have been saying, oh, it's rustic chic. Now people are just going to drop the rustic and they're just going to go for chic. And what's going to be in are industrial spaces, like doing stuff in really cool places where you can see like the duct. What's that, Reggie? Exposed ceilings with all and you can see the ducts and stuff like that, and the the polished cement floors and things like that, really urban, and that's kind of the look that's going to be hot for 2019. Out, first looks. There's been a trend that's been going on for a little while now where people have been, the bride and groom have been seeing each other and having a first look before they have the ceremony. Womp womp. I never liked that because I'm kind of old school with certain things. I can kind of go with the flow and be, kind of hip and in tune to most things, but some things I think should just be saved. Like, I just think it's nice when, as a guest, we're seeing the bride they're seeing each other at the same time that we're seeing them as a guest. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going to be in now. It's just waiting until the ceremony to see each other, which I think is really cool. I'm glad that that's kind of going to be going out. I mean, I know people like to do it and all of that, but I think that kind of takes some of the, I don't know, like some of the whole allure of like, seeing them come down and them seeing each other for the first time. So I'll get off my soapbox about that. Out, favors. And I think this has been a trend for a little while. Think about it. I have planned a lot of weddings, and at the end of the night, I cannot tell you the number of favors I have thrown away as a wedding planner. it's ridiculous. And people is, again, you spend money on it and people throw it away. That's why I think it's kind of, and if they don't think it's something worth having, or even if they thought it was something worth having, after a couple of drinks, they're having a good time, they end up leaving it. So favors are going to be out in 2018. And then people are starting to put more thought into, hey, instead of spending that money on favors that people are going to end up tossing or leaving behind, you know, let's do late night snacks. Like at the, as the party's kind of getting going, having some mini burgers and fries that are brought out by waiters in the middle of the dance floor while people are partying. That's hot. I would like that. Like I'm dancing. And then somebody slides in with a slider and some French fries. Oh my God, that is heaven to me. Two of my favorite foods. So yeah, I just think that is super cool. And I would much rather have that experience than to have some, little almonds in a little organza bag. Sorry. I'm telling the truth. So those are my trends for 2019. We're going to wrap this up with the bridal dress trends so you'll kind of know what to expect in 2019. So we can just click on that link and then we're out of here. I mean, I'm not so excited about leaving y'all. I'm just in a silly mood. So, of course, in a nod to the royal wedding, you're going to see a lot of more regal royal looks for 2019. So they're calling it the Meghan Markle effect, because we know how that happens when something happens in the royal world, as far as brides and things, it ends up trickling down. Remember, everyone wanted the Kate Middleton look with the long dress, but then everybody was carrying the same floral arrangement. So kind of like the very simple yet elegant royal look is kind of what people are kind of going for in 2019. One of the other trends, we don't have to show it, Jay. Some of the other trends are jumpsuits, and I wore my jumpsuit today and wanted to look. And this is great, as a matter of fact. It is just a regular wide leg. You guys can't see it, but it's a wide leg, like palazzo pants, like jumpsuit that can be worn if it was like, I would wear this if it were like a semi-formal, maybe black tie optional, but really kind of beat my face and maybe pin my hair up and have really more glitzy earrings on. This is definitely something you can do. But jumpsuits are actually on trend for 2019 for brides. There's some really cute ones that I found too, but I know we are running out of time. But Google them if you get a moment, because there's some really, really cute. I know you're thinking a jumpsuit, but I think that's a really hot look. It's really different, and that's kind of funny for me because I'm a dress girl, but some really cute looks. The tiered look is another look that's going to be popular in 2019 for bridal gowns too. So lots of fun trends going to be taking place in 2019. I'm sure whoever they are, the fashionista people, they're going to come up with some more. So be on the lookout for those. Y'all, that's the show. So I hope you guys feel like you're armed with some information about all things weddings, because wedding season started. Wedding season is like May to October. So we're going to be, attending weddings, or I'm sure some of you are going to be a participant in them. I hope you got some really great tips to get you through your next bridal or wedding festivity. That's all for today, everyone. Have a great week. See you next week. Blessings.